Big Lou Barbecue, and the things I want to do. What I want to do today is make some carnitas, because I just want some carnitas tacos. Actually, what I really want is pulled pork, but we're in the middle of the worst drought Louisiana has ever seen. Perhaps you've heard of the Tiger Island fire of 2023. Well, a week or so ago, it got within 3 miles of where I live. And I live in the country. My 4 acres of land here is so dry. We haven't had any significant rainfall since 4th of July, and it is Labor Day, which is unheard of for Louisiana. Now, there's some towns around that have gotten some rain today. We've seen some clouds, but we haven't had any rainfall here. We've had a few little showers a week or so ago once the fire started, but they only lasted for about 3 minutes. Wasn't much to make a difference in the drought conditions. Anyway, there's a burn ban on in Louisiana. It's a really strict burn ban. They say don't burn anything outside. Of course, they can't outlaw outdoor cooking, but they say if you got a flame that the fire department has to come to, you're going to be in trouble. And I'm just not going to do it. I've seen the devastation of this fire, and I'm just, I'm a charcoal guy, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to cook some carnitas inside. And I'm only making tacos for the 3 of us. It's just me and my daughter, my son, so I don't need a lot. So I'm going to do it in the large skillet right here. That's a lid. All right, and this is the little 10-inch or 10.25-inch skillet. This is the double-handled one. There's some advantages and disadvantages to the double-handled one. And disadvantages, when you're cooking on stove, you don't really have a long handle to hold it away from the heat very much. But I've got an induction stove, so it's all right. And I've made carnitas in this before, all right? You see, cooking with lime juice and orange juice and stuff like that, acidic ingredients in a cast iron skillet, that's not good, Big Lou. Look, the technique and the recipe come out of this Willet Skillet book. Now, I love this Willet Skillet book. I've had it for years. I've cooked other things on my show from it too. And, there's carnitas from a cast iron skillet, right? Anyway, the difference is their little recipe for the seasoning rub is one of the recipes they have. I think they call it toasted cumin seasoning or something, toasted cumin taco seasoning or something like that in there. I'm not going to be using that, all right? The seasons I'm going to be using for this is I'm going to be using primarily Heath Riles Garlic Jalapeno Rub, all right? Heath Riles Garlic Jalapeno Rub, and this is good stuff. I'll have a link down below. I love this stuff, and there's a reason it's one of the most popular rubs going on in the country right now. But to that, I'm going to add a tad bit of cumin, and I'm going to add, I think there might be some cumin in here, but I'd have to look. There's not enough. I want to put a little bit more. And I'm going to add some hot smoked paprika, all right, picante, all right. You got this little Spanish paprika here. Anyway, I'm going to add a little bit to it. So, we're going to be cooking this in a skillet. I'm going to be cooking it with the juice of one orange, juice of some fresh squeezed lime juice right out of the plastic container. I'm going to cook it with 3 cloves of garlic. I'm going to peel these, put them in there with it. And I'm going to use with 1 small onion cut up into quarters. And so I'm not going to show you all that prep work, me juice and everything and stuff. All right, but let me show you how I make the seasonings real quick, and then we'll get to the meat. All right, so I've got this little... I got some of these off of Amazon, and they're really, really cool. And so I'm gonna leave a link down below. And they've got, they come in a little 5-pack or something, like maybe 13, 15 bucks, something like that. You get 5 of them. So you got this, and then there's closed, and there's fine, medium. And so I like it. Just take the top off, put the spices in. I wanna put a little cumin in here. All right, just a tad bit. I'm not measuring, I'm just, yeah, that's good. That's a little cumin. Well, a little bit more. Yeah, that might be a little too much, but that's okay. I'm making tacos. I want a lot of cumin, right? Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of paprika. So just go with a spoon. That's about all the paprika I want to put in there. I'm gonna put that in there. All right, and I'm not filling this up either, because I don't have that much pork to make. I'm not making like this thing has the holes and then a thing where you pour it. If I can, there we go. We got it where I'm pouring, and I'm just gonna pour some of that garlic jalapeno rub right in there like that. That looks like enough to cover the meat and then some. So now I got a pretty good taco season out of that. And just by adding some cumin and paprika, could have added chili powder, but I want cumin and paprika on these carnitas. All right, one more thing. If you don't know what carnitas are, like Mexican pulled pork, but you're not barbecuing it. We're gonna stew it and fry it and stew it, okay? All right, here we are with some country style ribs. Now these are pork butt country style ribs. You can get pork loin country style ribs nowadays. Don't use the pork loin, use the pork butt, or use pork steaks, which are also cut from the pork butt if that's what you want to do. Now you see I got some fat on here. I'm gonna trim the heavy parts of the fat off, okay? And once I have them trimmed, we'll be right back to season them up. This one has a bone. I'm gonna cut the bone out. All right, so I cut a good bit of the heavy fat off of there. I got this little handful right there. Now I'm gonna use this to put a layer of lard down in the bottom of my skillet here in a minute. All right, so I'm gonna take my little container here, and stainless steel container, and I'm just gonna sprinkle this mix that we mixed up with the garlic jalapeno rub and added a little bit of paprika and cumin to it. And you see, I'm just gonna coat all of these things in it, all right? So next time you see me, we'll be at the stove, at the skillet. All right, this skillet's pretty hot, and I'm just gonna throw these fat pieces in there. They're starting to sizzle. And it's about medium-high heat. I'm not worried about preserving this lard, so I'm cooking it probably a little faster than I would if I was cooking it to preserve the lard. I just want just a little bit down here in the bottom before we drop in the actual meat we're gonna eat. It's only been 30 to 60 seconds, and you can see the lard is bubbling out of it right here. And I'm gonna flip these over in a minute. They're not really ready to flip yet, as you can see, but get them brown on one side, flip them over. I'm gonna cook them through. These will be dog treats, and I'm gonna have a nice little layer of pork fat on the bottom for the country style ribs that we're gonna turn into carnitas. Okay, as you can see, these things are just about done. And I've got a nice little layer of lard on the bottom. And if you want to cook them a little longer and eat them, like cracklins, skinless cracklins or chicharrones or whatever, you know, I'm going to pull them out and I'm just going to treat my dogs to them. I got two large labs and a little Shih Tzu. But anyway, I'm going to pull them out of here, be right back with the meat. All right, the pieces of fat, AKA skinless cracklins, are out. And we're going to put these country style ribs in here just like that. Now carnitas are usually done, you know, with pork butts or a whole pig or something in big pots, you know, and they'll just fry it down and then stew it down in its own fat, you know, but I'm not feeding the entire Puebla here, you know. I'm just feeding me and my 3 kids. So these country style ribs will get it done for what we need. One more big one. And then these little ones can go in wherever I can get them in there. So, all right, I'm gonna let them sit on that side, and I'm gonna turn them over all 4 sides and get them kind of seared off there. All right, it's been a bit. Got them kind of seared, so I'm gonna turn them around to the other side. Do them just like this. So they're kind of searing and frying, you know, and it's its own lard. One that's still a little pink right there. All right, it's been a few minutes. I'm pretty sure the other side is seared. Now, watch your eyes because this is going to splatter. All right, but I'm putting in that juice of 1 orange. I didn't get a lot of juice out of that orange, but I got enough. And I'm just gonna pour this all over the top. Gonna cool it down a little bit. It's gonna splatter. I'm putting some fresh squeezed lime juice right from the container. And we're gonna put in some water. Now, if I'd done this right, I would have taken that pork butt bone, that blade bone, boiled it down and made a little pork stock, but I'm just using water, but it would be better if I had pork stock. I am gonna use a little chicken bouillon in there. All right, so we're gonna let that just start to simmer like that. That looks like that's enough liquid. I've got a little chicken bouillon cube. We're gonna throw it in there. I'm gonna kind of break it up so it goes in little places, a little Knorr chicken bouillon cubes. Gonna break it up so it'll start to get all in there. All right, now, I've got my garlic and my onion. I cut the garlic pods open, make sure there's no green things in there because that green stuff will that's growing when it starts to sprout will make it bitter. All right, and so get all the garlic just all around there everywhere. And boil it with the garlic. And we're wherever I can fit the onions, I'm gonna fit the onions. And if I gotta break the onions open like this, you know, to kind of fit some of it here and some of it there, we'll do it that way. We're gonna fit the quartered onion in there. So, all right, now, we'll bring that to a boil, then we'll reduce it to a simmer. Oh wait, I forgot one more thing I wanted to add. The rest of that mix I made up with the garlic jalapeno rub and the cumin and the paprika, I wanna add that into this mix right there. Spilt a little on the handle, that's all right. All right, this has come up to a boil, so I'm gonna turn my stove down to, this is an induction stove. I'm gonna turn it down to about 3.5, 3, and I'm gonna simmer it, leave it covered for about 2 hours. All right, so it's gonna take about 2 hours to stew. So while this stews, let me tell you, look, if you see anything in this video you're interested in, I'll have links down below. Most of those are affiliated links. So if you're interested in the Heath Riles Garlic Jalapeno Rub or the Lodge Cast Iron thing, some of them are direct links to the sales site. Some of them are just to the Amazon store. I get a little small commission. It helps out the Big Lou Barbecue channel, and your support is appreciated. Thank you very much. All right, this has been braising for about an hour. It usually takes almost 2 hours, not always quite 2 hours, because you gotta get it to where it's falling apart, and it is getting really tender. But what I wanna do is just go ahead and turn each piece over. Braising means basically shallow boiling in a liquid like this, you know. It's beginning to float. So anyhow, I'm gonna let this continue to braise for, I'll probably check it in 30 minutes, and if it's ready, I'll tell you, but it's probably gonna be at least another 45 minutes to another hour before this is ready to go. But we're just gonna let it continue to just simmer here like this and cook for another hour almost. All right, let's check it now. Oh, it's getting real tender. Real tender. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out with a slotted spoon and be right back with you. Now, let this continue to boil. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the meat out, put it on this plate, or whatever vessel you wanna put it in. The little pieces of garlic and onions, we're gonna dispose of that. So the onions and garlic get disposed of, the meat gets put on this plate. Okay, I've got the meat out. With the slotted spoon, I've extracted the onions and garlic and discarded it. I'm gonna turn the heat up now and bring this to a raging boil. We want the liquid to boil off, all right? 7 ought to do it. Okay, that's beginning to boil off just the way I want it to do. Now this meat here, we just wanna kind of pull it apart like you would pulled pork, okay? Just get it all apart. I could chop it if I want to, but we just wanna kind of pull it. So I'm gonna get this meat all shredded up, and once that water's boiled off, I'll show you what else we do with it. Okay, the water has basically boiled out of this, and we're left with the grease. You can tell because you can hear it. It starts to sound like bacon frying and not like water boiling. It starts to sizzle, you know? Anyway, what we want to do is put our carnitas in there. But before I do that, let me show you. This is what I'm going to top my tacos with. Simply white onion, cilantro, lime juice, and salt. You're going to go ahead and put tomatoes in it, make a pico de gallo with some jalapenos and stuff. But this is all I want on my tacos. My kids will probably put cheese and sour cream and all kinds of stuff on their tacos. But all I want is this carnitas and that. So here it is, all shredded up, just like you do pulled pork. We're going to put it back in here. Now this is an important step because right now, it's kind of got the consistency of stew meat. And what we want to crisp this up. No, not make it crispy, but we want to make it brown like taco meat should be, you know? And so we're just gonna kind of fry it all in here like this and brown it in this leftover grease. Now, unlike at first when we did the whole country style ribs, this lard here has got some flavor to it, and all that stuff down on the bottom, that's all good too. We want to get this kind of crispy here, but we got one more thing we got to do. Now let's add some more of the garlic jalapeno rub right here at the end. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat off, and this is pretty much ready to go. Look, this final step here doesn't take long, and I say crisp it, I don't know I have another word for it, but you basically brown it up so that it's not as mushy as stew meat, you know, in your tacos. But anyway, there you go. Carnitas for a little family of 3. Not feeding a whole lot here, not feeding the whole Puebla. Don't need, 8 pork butts or a whole pig to make the carnitas with. All right, just out of those country style ribs, and that's gonna go good. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna heat up some black beans, I'm gonna heat up some tortillas, and we'll slap a taco together. All right, you wanna just heat your tortillas up. Look, these aren't gringo tacos. We're not using flour tortillas. We're not using crunchy taco shells, all right? These are real tacos. So we're using real corn tortillas. All right, I'm gonna serve myself up some beans. These are just canned beans. Right there. There's the carnitas. All right, now what we're gonna do, take these little tongs, grab some carnitas, put it on the tacos. I like to use 2 corn tortillas, stops them from breaking and leaking all over your shirt. Or not stops them, but helps prevent it, you know? And that taco's loaded up enough. Now, take a spoonful of the cebolla y cilantro, a little more on this one. And that's all that I want on my taco. You can put cheese or whatever you want to on them, but that's all that I want. We're gonna fold these over, just like that. Voila, taco. Just fold it over. That's a taco. No crunchy shell, no tortilla shell. All right, tacos de carnitas para 3. Yeah, for 3, not, the whole Puebla, right? Right like that. I like just onion and cebolla. My kids are probably gonna put cheese and sour cream and all kinds of stuff on theirs. Put whatever sauce you want to on it. I like it just like this. That Heath Riles rub does a good job with it. Simple, delicious. What a fantastic taco that is, y'all. I love carnitas. Now look, don't have to do tacos. You can do burritos, you can do chimichangas, you can do tortas, which is kind of like a po' boy sandwich. Put lettuce and tomato and mayonnaise and stuff on it and make a sandwich with it. And you can put it on top of nachos. Carnitas are awesome. Thanks for watching Big Lou Barbecue.